Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, President Rodrigo Duterte warns of another possible lockdown if COVID-19 infections surge. He reminds the easing restrictions does not mean the pandemic is gone. A change of heart at the House of Representatives. Lawmakers drop the provisional franchise bid for ABS-CBN. But how will this impact the proceedings at the Senate? Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon joins us live. And hundreds of fashion designers and artists come together for a one-of-a-kind auction to help in the COVID-19 fight. President Rodrigo Duterte warns the public that returning to the enhanced community quarantine will always be an option if COVID-19 cases still spike. Mr. Duterte says that a modified community quarantine does not mean the coronavirus is gone. He reminds people that life won't go back to normal as they know it until a vaccine is discovered. Here's the president in his own words.
Mga lugar na hindi pa binuksan o tinatawag namin which are under the modified lockdown, ito yung para nakita namin na talagang kailangan para hindi lalala ang sitwasyon. At maaari, since there is already the opening, a gradual opening, titingnan natin kung pwede ba to. Kasi kung babalik tayo sa dati, if the contamination will be as fast as before, and it will continue to infect yung nakalabas na, then we'll have to just go back to the original the program.
The Senate has yet to decide if they will take up the ABS-CBN franchise bill. Some senators believe this might be premature since the House has yet to pass the final version of the measure. But others argue both chambers of Congress should hold or can hold simultaneous sessions of certain bills. ABS-CBN executives tell senators they may be forced to let go of employees if they remain off the air because of financial losses. Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon. Senator Drilon, good morning, sir, and welcome to the show. I hope I can hear you, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Pinky, and thank you for having me once again.
Always a pleasure, Senator. Let me start with the ABS-CBN franchise, sir. The Senate had a hearing on the ABS-CBN. I believe it was the provisional franchise yesterday, Tuesday, but the House also yesterday shelved that particular provisional franchise bill and decided to hold a hearing on the 25-year franchise renewal instead. So how will this affect whatever hearing happened yesterday, Senator?
We cannot pass the franchise bill of ABS-CBN unless the House passes its version first. That is the Constitution. This is a private bill, and therefore it must originate from the House, meaning that the version that we will consider in the Senate must be the version that is sent to us by the House. If they do not send us anything, if the House does not send us anything, then we cannot debate and consider and pass the franchise in the Senate. In other words, if the ball is in the House, they must pass it first before the Senate can debate and pass it.
Okay, but Senator Drilon, maaari ho ba kayong magkaroon pa rin ng hearing such as a preparatory hearing, waiting for that bill coming from the House on the ABS-CBN 25-year franchise renewal, sir?
Yes, yesterday, in fact, was a preliminary hearing. It was a hearing in anticipation of our receipt of the House version. When we receive the House version, we will probably just have one more committee hearing, and then we will put it on the floor for debates and final approval. So there is nothing that prevents the Senate, as in fact we have done it, in having hearings in advance. But in the
Apo.
committee, we discuss it in the committee. There's nothing wrong with that. But to discuss it in the Senate itself and to vote for it in the Senate itself, we must wait for the version passed by the House. So clearly, the ball is in the House. They must act on it. Unfortunately, 4 years passed. The franchise bill was not considered. And now we have barely 6 session days left before we adjourn. And the reality is, when we adjourn on June 3, we come back on July 27. ABS-CBN cannot go back on the air because the franchise has not been renewed by Congress, and Congress will not be
Yeah.
in session starting June 4 up to July 27.
You know, Senator, I heard Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano say yesterday that there are 6, I think, session days left, as you mentioned, and they will possibly take this up. And hopefully by after the SONA, I think that's on July 24, doon po, hopefully in August, they will be able to already put this in plenary. I guess what I want to find out from you, Senator, um, matagal ho ba ito? Natatagalan ho ba kayo dito?
Hindi, sa amin hindi. Handa kaming pagbobotohan ang franchise bill. We are ready. And, a week at the most from the time we receive it, we can have it passed.
Okay. Do you see a problem, Senator, because the executives of ABS-CBN yesterday, specifically Mr. Carlo Katigbak, was saying that in August, he said that we may have to consider retrenching some of their employees because of them not being on air. He actually said that they're losing about 30 to 35 million pesos a day. So pag August pa po, mapunta sa plenary ng House ng August, and then it will be transmitted to the Senate. Would this pose a problem? And do you think you need to really fast track this so that there is a solution or an answer to the franchise bill of ABS-CBN?
If the House can pass the franchise of ABS-CBN when we go back in July, in other words, before August, there is no problem. We can pass it in the Senate before the end of August, at the most. We can pass it middle of August. That
Okay.
is not a problem for us. It is a problem that starts in the House.
All right, we'll be taking a short break. Still more questions for Senator Franklin Drilon. We're going to talk about government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic and that price tag of PhilHealth of about 8,150 pesos for every COVID-19 test. It doesn't seem like Senator Drilon is too happy with that. We'll find out more after the break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Our guest today, Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon. Sir, I know that there was also a hearing yesterday at the Senate. I wanted to find out first, because NCR and other high-risk areas are still under the modified enhanced community quarantine. Senator Drilon, did the health department or any of them say that pretty soon, or NCR and other high-risk areas are ready to be downgraded to a general community quarantine?
No such statement was made, Pinky. I was there. I did not hear the Department of Health make that assessment. I don't know if they made that assessment somewhere else.
All right. How about Senator Drilon? Testing. Testing, we're still over 10,000 a day. The goal is 30,000 a day by the end of May. Is this enough, you think?
No, it is not enough, Pinky, but in relation to that, let me share with you what we learned yesterday. Pinky, firstly, the president just threatened another lockdown. This is quite difficult. This is, this has adverse effects on all of us. Now, we must view the lockdown from the context of its need to control the spread of the virus, because the virus has no vaccine as of now. So all you can do is control. And to control, you have to apply the three T's. Three T's. Test, track, and treat. I'll just repeat. You test, you track, and you treat. Now, without testing, you will have a continuous lockout because you are blinded. We do not know who are contaminated. If we do not know who are contaminated because there's no testing, we cannot track them. And if we cannot track them and those who they infected, we cannot treat them. So again, the lockdown is for us to enable us to treat, to track, and to test. Now, testing is very critical. And PhilHealth has a package, will pay for testing. The package of PhilHealth is 8,150 per test. In other words, a member of PhilHealth or you go to a hospital, you have yourself tested for this coronavirus, the PhilHealth will pay the hospital 8,150. That's the package. Now, what is the cost of the test kits? Our research shows that the test kit coming from China will cost the hospital 1,500 pesos
500.
per test. And then you have the overhead and the cost of the materials used. You will come another 2,000 and give the hospital a margin of 500. So roughly, a reasonable cost for one test is 4,000 pesos. That is the cost that the Red Cross would recover and charge from the patients who would avail of the testing facilities of Red Cross, 4,000. Now, what is PhilHealth doing? They are reimbursing the hospitals for the same work and the same process, 8,150. In other words, if you look at the cost to the hospital and the service provider of one testing, the overpayment by PhilHealth is 4,100
4,000.
per test. Pinky, we will test 2% of our population, or roughly 2 million Filipinos will be tested. 2 million times 4,150 pesos, which is the overprice, is the potential loss of 8.3 billion pesos to PhilHealth. In other words, what I'm saying is for test 2 million Filipinos, the government could achieve that with an expense of roughly 4 billion pesos.
For
But Philippines, for its
I
own
understand.
reasons, is spending in its package 8,150. So there is a potential
Apo.
overprice of 8.3 billion pesos. I asked yesterday Secretary Duque,
Secretary Duque.
how did we at
Mhm.
8,150 when our own computation and research indicates that a 4,000 per test package is reasonable and provides a reasonable margin to the service provider and the hospitals. Secretary Duque, the chairman of the health of the field health, could not answer me. He said he will ask the president. So they're coming this afternoon, but I do not know how they will explain this
Okay.
because the cost of anywhere from 3,005 to 4,000 per test by the service provider is supported by the private sector whose
Red
costing
Cross. Mhm.
is estimated at 3,500 to 4,000. Pinky?
Okay, so we're going to wait for the answer, Senator, of Secretary Duque. I know you said that. I heard that yesterday, sir, that you were questioning it, and he gave some specifics on that. That it depends on the test kits that come in, and I do understand also that you said that when we talk about the Philippine Red Cross, that amounts to about 4,000, and that those are both PCR tests. So that would be possibly apples to
Yes.
apples, Senator Drilon. So we'll find out the answer of Secretary Duque, how he will address this. Just as a last question, sir, I need to bring this in. I wanted to get your reaction. The President says General Sinas, NCRPO Chief, will stay. Ang sabi po niya, and I quote, "Ako yung ayaw na malipat siya. He's a good officer. He's an honest one. Hindi niya kasalanan kung may mangharana sa kanya sa birthday niya." Just a quick reaction, Senator, please.
Well, that erodes the confidence of our people on the ability of the government to enforce the rules of the IATF because the IATF has imposed this social distancing, and the implementer is the PNP. If the implementer itself does not follow the rule imposed by the IATF, you will find difficulty for the ordinary citizens to follow the same rule. In other words, it erodes the credibility of the IATF and PNP to enforce the rules that they have promulgated because the implementers themselves do not follow them.
All right, Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon. Sir, we'll wait for the answer of Secretary Duque regarding what you said because that's huge if that is a potential 8 billion peso loss for PhilHealth. Maraming salamat po sa inyo, Senator Drilon.
Thank you, Pinky, and good morning.
Thank you. An auction to help people affected by the COVID-19 crisis. Find out more from the chairman of Salcedo Auctions. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. The interior, fashion, and art industries are coming together to aid the marginalized amid the COVID-19 crisis. The country's premier auction house is holding another auction to help feed those whose livelihoods were affected by the lockdown. Salcedo Auctions earlier held an auction to help the frontliners. Proceeds of their latest auction will go to the non-government organization effort against hunger. Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have Salcedo Auctions Chairman and Chief Specialist Richie Lerma. Richie, welcome to the show. Good to have you.
Thank you, Pinky. Good to see you.
All right, it's a gavel and block benefit auction showcasing a wide range of items. I believe you have over 500 items for the auction. How were you able to pull this together?
Well, so first of all, I have a great team working with David De Vera, Luis Espiritu, been very helpful in gathering all of these pieces. The designers, the artists have been tremendously generous in donating their works to help us raise funds for Rise Against Hunger. We hold benefit auctions each year, and we're very privileged to be able to assist Rise Against Hunger, who prepare, it's an international organization that has a big base here in the Philippines that distributes food packs to the most needy, and that's especially acute today with the COVID lockdown, of course, and many people jobless and going hungry.
You do have a good team there, Luis and Devi. So let me zero in on the fashion aspect first. Hundreds, I'm sure, hundreds of Philippine fashion, let me say great Philippine fashion designers donating for a cause. Tell us more about it. How many are they? How many items are there?
Just from the fashion accessories, we're looking at over 130 items in the sale. This is certainly a record feat and a first in Philippine auctions, and we're very proud to pioneer that on our. It's 2020 is our 10th anniversary. It's a continuing series of events, and we're happy to present fashion for the first time and in such a scale here in this auction. We have, as you mentioned, some greats in Philippine fashion: Michael Cinco, Joji Loren. We have Leslie Mobo.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Many,
Richie, let's talk about the creation of Michael Cinco first.
yeah. We're so excited about this particular piece. This was a gown that was, this is a stretch gown that was specially made for Kylie Minogue for her 2015 concert in Dubai. This is great provenance, as you can imagine, and it's being donated to the Rise Against Hunger benefit auction. It will be specially fitted for the winning bidder. Just the tremendous amount of detail on this piece shows the mastery of the couturier through this lovely ensemble.
Okay, let's talk about Joji Loren's creation.
I'm especially inspired about this particular gown, which is in silk, and it is inspired by the paintings of a great modern Filipino artist, Lee Aguinaldo. He also has other couture gowns. Yes, in this sale.
Leslie Mobo?
Leslie Mobo has this fuchsia pink pleated dress with silver paillettes on its side. Just such intricate detail on this piece by one of our country's most renowned artists, and one with an international profile. We're very proud to have him represented in this auction for the first time.
All right, and we're gonna run this by really fast. Let's go to CJ Cruz.
CJ Cruz is one of our most promising contemporary fashion designers. Is making these special terno sleeves. In fact, this is a representative photograph of something that he will be creating, a bespoke for the winning bidder. He creates these whimsical terno sleeves, which you don to all of these. All of these events where ternos have been especially favored.
All right, Richie, I'm just going to say it. Also, there's Wendell Mattis, there's Joseph Bagasao, and so many more. But I need to move on.
Right.
It's not just
over here.
Yeah. So it's not just fashion. There's also paintings, furniture, and as you mentioned a while ago, jewelry in the auction.
Yeah.
So much to look forward to.
There is the Lydia Velasco, for example, you see there. Antique furniture is going to auction as well. This is a Globe de Marie, which is a French. This is a Garibay painting as well that's going to be in the auction. This is table that's going to be a console table, Murano pieces, there'll be Lalique pieces as well. One of the highlights, they're just there, the Betsy
Wow.
Westendorf, Joan Bitagcol scarf that was donated to the auction as well. This is the Cara Pangilinan for Fino with hand painting. It's almost like a debut for her.
Okay.
Of course, Sharon Cuneta Pangilinan's daughter. As I mentioned, another legacy of Lydia Velasco, one of our great Filipino modern artists, is here as well. So we're looking at 550 items. The auction is divided into 3 sections: one
Wow.
for interior, the second fashion,
Okay.
and the third for art. It starts at 11 a.m. on Saturday the 23rd.
And when will this happen? When will?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, it will be this
Saturday
Saturday
the
at 11.
23rd. It starts.
Yes,
All right.
it starts at 11.
Richie, good luck. And of course, we want to thank. Go ahead.
Yes, so we'd like to invite everybody to come visit salcedoauctions.com to participate in the benefit online auction. At 11 o'clock, we have the fashion pieces. At 2 o'clock, at 11, the interiors. 2 o'clock will be the fashion, and 4 o'clock will be the art. You have to register online to participate. There is also a provision for absentee and telephone bids as well. If you have any questions, feel free
I
to
see.
contact us.
Salcedo Auctions Chairman and Chief Specialist Richie Lerma. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Pinky. Have a nice day.
And you too. And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.